Yeah. So this book actually grows not only out of your intellectual uh, explorations, but also out of your intuition.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
you're not putting a wall up against that,
No,
but
I'm not. No, I'm
but
absolutely not.
incorporating that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Informed intuition is the basis of artistic and scientific discovery. It
Yeah.
really is. The aesthetic, the intuitive comes first, and the ideas slowly work themselves out of that. The intuition comes first.
Yeah, that has struck me about, the stories that they tell us about science and how science works,
Mm.
as if it starts with a very objective place of, I have
Right.
a hypothesis, I'm going to but it doesn't seem to work that way. It comes
No,
from
it doesn't.
somebody's got this flash of insight, and then they spend the rest of their life. If the experiment doesn't come out right, they'll do it again a different way until it
Right.
supports their intuition.
Right. Right. I mean, Einstein recounts how his theory of relativity was an idea that bubbled in his head when he was a kid, and it came out of an intuition, a fantasy he had. He wondered, what would the world look like if I was riding on a beam of light?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it came
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And it took him,
What a silly idea, right?
what a
What a
silly
silly idea.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, a kid riding on a beam of light. What would the world look like? And gradually out of that, the theory of relativity and general relativity eventually emerged.
yeah.
20 years later, or 15 or whatever years later it was. But yeah, but that's how it emerged. Yeah. So
Yeah.
informed intuition for me spirals into that level of the mind that we were talking about earlier, that is not necessarily the unconscious, so to speak, below us, and certainly not the conscious that we're immersed in waking state, but that superconscious realm of intuition, insight, and illumination, literally illumination.
Yeah.
Uh, that is what that is, and we have symbols for that. You know, the capstone of the Egyptian pyramid, or in Tibet, the eye on many of the temples in Tibet, that single eye. And it finds its way actually on the dollar bill of the United States.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a pyramid, and on the top of that pyramid is an eye, that all-seeing eye. Well, that all-seeing eye represents the intuitive insight, literally in sight.
Yeah.
And we took that mystical symbol and during the Roosevelt administration and put that on the American dollar bill. People don't really not recognize that, but it's true. We have another mystical symbol that everybody sees, but we don't necessarily remember where it came from, and that is the medical caduceus. You know, if you go into a physician's office, somewhere in there, she will have or on the building that she's working in, a symbol, and the symbol is of two entwined serpents going up a pole. That is the medical caduceus. Well, that is also an ancient symbol of spiritual awakening. The two serpents crisscross along a pole 7 times until they reach the top. And when they do reach the top, they no longer cease being serpents, and they sprout wings and they can fly. Well, that was a symbol of the ancient Egyptian initiation sects.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the rising of the serpent energy, the serpent power. Yes, that's where that comes from.
And people
It's right
related.
there.
Yeah. Is it also related to chakra? The ideas
Yes,
of the chakras.
exactly the
right?
same. Exactly the same. It's right there in plain view. It's not hidden. It's
Yeah.
right there in plain view. And so these things are all around our world. And this book is all about gently beginning to shift our vision, shift our attention, just enough to be able to sort of recognize that and to take advantage of those enormous collective unconscious wealth that comes from all of our civilizations and all of our cultures, going back for hundreds of thousands of years. It is implicit in our brains and our minds. And if we can get beyond our fear, if we can get beyond our fear, and there are many people who fear the African level of their consciousness for all kinds of complicated reasons, we can get beyond that fear. We can recognize that there is a untold amount of wealth and insight in there, because Africa is not only where our species emerged, it's also where the first civilizations emerged. It's also where the three great religions emerged, you know? Right. The first 100 years of Christianity were spent primarily in the North African deserts. People think it was in Rome and Greece. Some of it, but most of the early church fathers, the one who wrote the theology, St. Augustine, many of the others, they were Africans, and they wrote about it, wrote about Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Muhammad was in flight from Arabia, where'd he go? He went to Africa. You know, Judaism, where did it come from? No, it didn't come from Palestine. It came out of Africa. Moses came out of Africa. About millions of Jews every year, millions, sit around the Passover Seder, and they repeat, in Egypt, did Israel become a nation?
Yeah.
So it's right there. And so we just have to shift our lens a little bit so that it comes into focus. And when it does, it's much better for all of us. It's a very healing, inclusive, accepting position, because we are all part of it and we're all welcome and we all have the right to do this.